Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakakadash. Double to the apostles and elders of Great Most Under Rule, and Shalom to the brothers doing work concerning truth. Yeah. Got this article here on Yahoo News from the Telegraph, getting into these these Baltic states, these states that are like on the edge, the eastern edge of NATO, and they're basically begging the rest of NATO to step up and prepare for Russia to make moves on them, because essentially these guys know they're there, just like now they're seeing Ukraine essentially having to hold the front for like the whole of essentially the Western world from Putin. These guys know, like, Ukraine's, it's really a matter of time, because the only reason it's been held off so long is all the monetary investments from all these different countries, basically, equipment, supplies, etc. Because otherwise, like that, and well, because once they're done, then essentially Putin's focus can go elsewhere, and because otherwise, without that these men are done. These men are washed. So that's the for them, they're not like, yo, we're about to be next. So we need you, man, to to step forward and and prep as well. So the title is "Prepare for Putin Pivot to Invade Us," says Baltic States. It says what? NATO must be ready for Russia launching an existential war against the Baltic states, masked by a blizzard of disinformation. Ambassadors for the three countries have warned. Writing exclusively for the Sunday Telegraph, the top diplomats to the UK from Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania said Russia could pivot quickly from Ukraine to invade the Baltic. They said that Vladimir Putin's brutalization of Ukraine is evoking the three countries' darkest memories of occupation under Stalin. The Estonian ambassador Vilejar Lubi, the Latvian ambassador Ivitar Burmistra, and Lithuania's charge d'affaires Lina Zigmantaitė wrote the joint article to mark Friday's 20-year anniversary of the country's acceding to NATO. The ambassadors said that joining the alliance meant that their nations had never enjoyed stronger collective security than today, but nor have we faced a more daunting threat. In a swipe at other European countries who had played down the risk of Russia, they said our warnings about the latent and growing threat from the East were too easily dismissed in some allied capitals. We knew then, just as we know today, that only a collective defense can guarantee security in Europe. We lacked this in the 1930s and paid a huge price, one that Ukrainians are paying now. So yeah, these guys are trying to remind everyone of, previously how they got absorbed into the USSR. But yeah, it's funny because most of these people are aware. But it's funny because that's essentially the role these guys have been anyway. is they've been a buffer. They've been a ward, essentially. You know, they were accepted into NATO to kind of be that buffer, be that shield. Because what does it say? The ambassadors said that the torments currently being experienced by Ukraine in the form of deportation, torture, kidnap of children, and cultural erasure awaken their country's own darkest memories and fears. An apparent reference to the Soviet occupation of the Baltic states, which began in 1940, warning Russia could once again seek to invade. They said, "We are acutely aware that Russia's war economy and battle-hardened military can pivot quickly from south to west. We agree with intelligence assessments that sharp strategic challenge to our defense and deterrence could come in as little as 3 years or even less." So these guys know it's real soon. It's funny because like Ukraine invasion was similar, but even then it was like men were, there was like that period of like a month or so where Russia really moved up and then just was on the edge in like no time flat. And then their man just launched the invasion. So now they know where it's like, if there's military movements near the borders, then it's just gonna get peak. And then, well, everyone's seen what's happened in Ukraine. Thing is, as well, is like as soon as they move beyond Ukraine, Ukraine's gonna be forgotten. Because just like now, for the longest time, everyone's had their Ukraine flags out. Everyone's been, verbally been, flapping their gums, giving lip service to supporting them, just the general populace. But just as the state of Israel and Palestine situation developed, the state of Israel and Palestine situation developed, that just knocked it out of the collective minds of people. People weren't sitting around thinking about Ukraine. Because why? There was something new. And then, as the conflict spreads, because, this is something that's being built up, whether it be further off in the east, on like the side with where these states are, or if it, draws in more nations in the Middle East, which is where, prophecy's pointing. That's where the main conflict's gonna go down. Then it's it's gonna be peak. And that's the thing as well, is these guys are familiar when they remember their history, so they know how peak it can be. And well, really everyone's seen Ukraine, so they know how peak it is. So what it say? A comment: 3 years or less. We on the east side of the Baltic Sea have few natural frontiers and nowhere to retreat to, with the countries already assailed by hybrid attacks, such as cyber warfare on a daily basis. They warned that an existential challenge to their independence may initially seem ambiguous, masked by a blizzard of disinformation and other distractions. In these circumstances, confusion spells defeat. We and our allies need therefore to be ready to respond quickly, convincingly and effectively to all kinds of threats. And it's funny as well, because the kind of narrative has been for a little while that, well, even from when the invasion happened, as it dragged on, people are, oh, blah blah blah. Russia is these guys are talking about the competency of their military and whatnot, and saying like, oh, these guys don't know what they're doing. Their military discipline X Y Z, all these different things. But it's funny because on as far as for like the amount of information getting out about that conflict, anything being reported by the Ukrainians, they've got a vested interest to try and have it look a certain. Well, essentially, it's in the best interest of both Russia and Ukraine to have information come out that's favorable to them. So, Ukraine's essentially trying to build the narrative that they can win, they can liberate themselves, but obviously that requires external funding. And as far as Russia, they're trying to make them look, as incompetent as possible. So it's you're gonna receive purely biased information from all sides. So to be able to tell the reality of what's going down is gonna be a difficulty. You're really gonna have people just in the mix, giving you a rundown of what's going down. So the fullness of what these guys can do ain't really known. And then as well, the talk has been of nuclear weaponry, nuclear armaments. Because why? That's really been there in the background, man, the whole time. But yeah, these these nations are basically like, yo, this thing's it's popping off, and they know that they're gonna be in the mix, which is is very possible, very possible. So I'll start with this. Isaiah 55 and 11. It says, "So shall my word be that goeth forth from my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it." And yeah, that's when we're dealing with this conflict. This isn't, it's not something that's just happened by chance, or it just seems like, oh, it's just building up. It's like it could all, just as all the tensions building now, it could it could all just burst. The bubble could burst and then just like it deflates. No, but this, when you're dealing with this conflict, this is something that's been part of that word that's gone out, man. This is something essentially that's become a promise onto onto these different nations. Because why? Psalm 72 and Psalm 75 and 6. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor the west, nor the south. But the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. Yeah. Yahweh Shem Yahushai is the judge, and then there's puts down one and sets up another. And the one that's been set up, for the longest, really is full height from post World War II, has been America. America's taken that chief position from then and been essentially a focal point of the earth. But from the 70s, man, from when the word started to come out in the midst of America, it's been on a steady trackable decline. You talk to Americans that kind of live through and seen certain things. They're it might be in the 40s to 50s. They'll kind of be able to, for them, they'll will have been able to see. It's like people that kind of saw like the 80s and 90s, like the 80s as well, to part of the 90s. Those like very easy ways to make money. There would have been people, they could have still been working like two kind of little kind of low level jobs. Then they might have still been able to get a house, still been able to get certain things and build themselves up. Things that now like are a far off dream for most people. Where it's like, you mention a house, you mention these things. Now it's like there's a crisis, in the economy, and a lot of it kind of wedges. It kind of continues on from what's it called? The financial 2008 financial crash. There's a lot of things where it's like essentially from that point onwards, it's become far more difficult to engage with. There was like little pockets of time where people might be making a decent bit of money or whatnot. They might have been able to do certain things. But then it's like, especially over in the UK, it's like the way interest rates are now. Even people that got houses, they would have been paying, they might have been paying 1,400, 1,500 payments, and now that's bounced up to like, $3,000 plus. To where it's like they're feeling hella squeezed, all kinds of pressure. And that's why, because now's the time of this place being taken down, man. The spirit's been taken off it in all aspects. Where you would have had like, even dealing with like the entertainment world, daughters of music being brought low. You would have had, certain entertainers where it's like now those same fields, you've lost that kind of appeal, man. That spark that used to be there. Because why? All there was a time where all these things were at height, but now it's basically been a steady, trackable decline, to where people are just looking like, yo, this spirit's come off this place. And then what else does it say? Verse 8, for in the hand of the Lord Yahweh there is a cup, and the wine is red, is full of mixture, and he poureth out of the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. But I'll declare forever, I will sing praises to the power of Jacob. But yeah, so what, there's the cup, this red, and it's full of mixture. And then what? The cup of the Most High is judgment. It says what? The dregs thereof, the wicked of earth shall wring them out and drink them. Because that's the cup that Israel, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians weren't meant to drink of. They did. But then now it's time for the heathen to drink. Because why? Even dealing with Esau, he's been given a role, man. He's been given a position. And now these things, well, really have been manifest. From when America was has been established, it's had one role, man. Revelation 6:3, and it says, and when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. They should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. So yeah, when you're dealing with Esau, his role is what? He's that red horse. He's basically been given a role to take peace on the earth. Whilst these, Esau's been established, now they're talking about Putin, but it's Esau on both sides, man. He's essentially been doing, one other, tool that's been utilized to bring conflict. Just as, you had America doing the same thing. These guys have been, like, their role's been from when they went over there and established themselves, conflict against Gad, conflict against the Northern Kingdom. whilst establishing themselves. But then what as well? These guys have been engaged in conflict all over the world. And deal with this, like, after World War II happened, you essentially had what they call the Cold War, where it's essentially you had states where just like you got now with Ukraine, where there's been proxy wars, where they'll have, like, well, yeah, it's still proxy war, because you would have the Russians there, and their influence against America and their influence. That's really what you've had develop, and that's really what you've seen. Because why? That conflict's been developing, man, and that's been the job, to take peace. So then what? All the illusion of peace on the earth. That's really been people that have been, it might have been in America where they've kept at distance, and the most have kind of known is like, oh, troops going overseas, going to Afghanistan, going to Vietnam, going to wherever the hell, and getting blown up. But then they might have thought like, oh, it's just they've kind of been able to be at home and build up and do their things, so they don't feel like it's too bad. But hey, that peace has been something that has been difficult to find for most people on earth. Because why? The earth's been given into the hand of the wicked. Esau's basically had, his hands around the globe, able to do as he will. And even this conflict with Russia is an extension of that. Because Esau on both sides, man. And if Satan be divided against himself, how then shall his kingdom stand? So it was, I said it was real talk. How can your kingdom stand when you're warned against it yourself? You can go to Israel, the northern kingdom and southern kingdom. These guys were going against each other. There's no way in hell that could stand, man. But that's something that until now hasn't been mended, man. Them breaches closed up. So is it Joel 3:9? It says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong." And yeah, prepare war. That's really, the words that's gone out. All these different nations, they're instructed to prepare for war, man. To rouse up the mighty men. Get their militaries together. Get them equipped. Get these guys trained, and send them out, man. Even these that on a low level, send them out. Because as I say, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Jehovah. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat or Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. And that's what's been spoken. That all these heathen essentially need to come and gather themselves together in the valley of the Most High's judgment, man. The valley of Jehoshaphat, which is out there in the Middle East, man. That's how you have these conflicts that have been brewing, but now it's drawing people in. The ones that are kind of antagonizing those global forces is these Houthis, man. These Yemenis that slinging missiles, slinging rockets and whatnot at these different nations, or nabbing their boats. And these things, it's what to draw them all in, man. Because what these nations all being drawn in, they've been drawn into the blender, man. Put ye in the sickle, verse 13. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. Yeah, this is all built up to what? It's the day of the Lord, man. Which that's something that, they even have no business desiring, where, these guys are unaware. Because what the day of the Lord is darkness and not light, man. These guys are going to be caught out here. Isaiah 66:15. For behold, the Lord Yahweh will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by the fire and by his sword will the Lord Yahweh plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord Yahweh shall be many. So yeah, even as, this is being put together, it's about, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. It's about his judgment taking place, man. He's the one who's going to get, be able to revenge himself upon these nations. Because why? They've been, maneuvering through complete wickedness, man. Can even, what was it? It's touching their wickedness. 2nd Esdras 15:7. It says, therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which so profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. And yeah, that's why the revenge being taken. Israel's been the apple of the Most High's eye, and then going back, when you see how America was built up, because America's the main spot, man. As far as for now, the main target of those judgments. I'll hold my tongue no more as touching wickedness, which are profanely. Yeah. Just as, dealing with the innocent blood, you go back to Cain and Abel, man. And then from the jump, really, you had Cain and Abel, which is it's the same relationship dynamic as Jacob and Esau. You had Abel the righteous, and then Cain the wicked. And then what? Cain offered up, tried to offer up fruit on the altar, man. This guy was putting, parsley, sage on the altar, like that's a righteous sacrifice. He was doing a madness. But then, because obviously Abel offered the righteous sacrifice, this guy was getting hurt. But then, as it said, if you do correctly, we also excel. But then, he was a hater, so he just, He put Abel to death. He decimated Abel. And then what? The innocent blood cried unto him. And that's really been, it's that same spirit, man, Esau. This guy's, does wickedness and he thinks he's essentially gonna get away with it. Because the way people talk about America now, they're trying to just be like, oh, it's the greatest nation on earth, blah, blah, blah. So, defender of the free world and all that, they're trying to give it all that honor and that glory. But what's the real, man? This place is been wicked. It was established in wickedness. And, now, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Hashem HaKadosh is revenging himself upon them. He's basically getting, collecting on that debt. Just as Esau's been able to, utilize his power, his sword, he was blessed with to go around and, collect on debts. Now it's his turn to get a taste, which is why he's so hurt. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom.